Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I'm coming back at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In today's video, we're going to explore the difference between different paint versions of a German Army field gray. I have some Vallejo. These are Vallejo, either Panzer races or model color. I have a couple of AK. One is from their acrylic line, German field gray. And then I have one from their figure line, which is field gray base coat, green uniform. And then here I have War Paints field gray, and then that's an army painter. And then I have the Warlord Games German Army field gray, which is also army painter, War Paints. It was just rebranded for Warlord, which I do believe they've not done this anymore. I think they've gotten rid of their Warlord line, and they're only going with the War Paints line instead of having the same paint rebranded. But I've compared these two, and they are different, so we're going to try them out. And then I've also got the Tamiya XF65, which is field gray. So we're going to put these straight on to these popsicle sticks. Now, I primed these sticks white, black, gray, and brown, because these are the four colors that I normally prime figures with. It just depends on the situation of which color I prime with. So we're going to compare these colors on all of these sticks, and we're going to compare the difference. I am going to put, once we get this painted, I'm going to put this off to the side. And then what we'll do is I'll put on the screen a couple of photos of German uniforms in action or in the museum or whatever, just so that we can kind of compare which of these on these compare the best to life. Okay, so we're gonna I'm gonna shake each of these up, right? And these are going to be non-diluted, so I'm not going to add any water or put them in the palette or anything like that. I'm going to apply them directly to the stick. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to do this in this order on all of the sticks. We'll have these colors in this order, so it won't be, it'll basically keep it so that I'll be able to know which ones are which. I think I should be able to color it like that on all the sticks and have enough enough room for all the paint. Okay, so that was the Tamiya. Now we're going to let that, I'm going to move on to the next color. So I don't get any contamination, I'm going to clean my brush and be right back. Now we're moving on to the Warlord Games Rapid Deployment, but it's still the Army Painter War Paints. Now I'm going to do the same with every color, so you don't necessarily need to watch me apply the paint. It's going to be the same for every one. So what I'm going to do now is fast forward a little bit, and then I'll be right back. Okay, we're going to have to let that dry. I'm going to give it 15 minutes, so I'm going to pause the video and we'll restart the video. Alright guys, we got it all put on the sticks. Now, what I did was I took a pen and wrote down on the bottom Panzer Races, Vallejo, AK, Army Painter, Warlord Games, and Tamiya on all of them except the black one because you wouldn't be able to see my writing. I'm going to let this dry for about 15 minutes. I know that's longer than it's probably necessary, but I'm going to let them dry and then we'll come back to them because I do know that the paints, some of them darken up when they dry, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to see exactly what the end result is. Those two are on the end. There's a little bit of a gap for this guy. These two are together. The AKs with the green uniform on the right. Then we got, of course, the Army Painter, Warlord Games, and then finally the Tamiya on the end. So give it about 15 minutes. We'll be back, and then I'll compare it to some pictures on the screen. Alright guys, we're back. I let this dry for about 15 to 20 minutes. And I've discovered something that I find a little disconcerting. On the brown and the black popsicle sticks, the colors look really good. I'll compare them and show them to you in just a moment. The gray might also look okay, but I think it's kind of, I don't know. We'll look at it. But these look really good, and I'm going to have to explain what I'm talking about here in just a minute. And on the white popsicle stick, which is the one I would have expected to have the true colors, this is the one that I actually don't like the most. Okay, so when it comes to comparing the colors, it might be that the camera's not picking it up well because of the white bleached out or what have you. But visually, just looking at it without, the camera, they look very dark. Okay, so let's kind of take a look and compare a little bit. This color's obviously not a good field gray. It's the German Tanker 1 field gray. So that's obviously not a good color, and you can see it on the other sticks as well, that it's really just too bright. Now this looks kind of brown, right? That looks like a brown color, almost like a violet, a brown violet. Okay, now this Vallejo field gray, all of the field grays on this stick don't look gray at all, do they? They look more brown or olive. This one doesn't look, that looks really brown, really brown, really brown. Even the Army Painter one looks very brown. But when you get to the Warlord Games, you're actually starting to see a little bit of a green look, and that actually looks really well. And the Tamiya one looks extremely well also. So I would have to say, on white, the Warlord Games or the Tamiya would be the way to go. But this stick is the worst stick out of all of them. I think it's washed out, or it didn't dry the way I expected it to dry. Okay, so let's use gray because I think that's a color I've pretty much stopped priming with. I prime any of my rustic models like World War II or maybe even ancient Romans. I'm going to prime them with a brown. I primed black for many years because if I miss a spot or something like that, the black will actually disguise any mistakes. Okay, so back to this color. It's too green. It's more of an American uniform green, but now you're starting to see the really dark or light brown violet. But on the Vallejo, you're actually starting to see an olive. It's got a little bit of a green to it. Okay, now on these two colors, they're almost identical. Yeah, so these are both from the AK Field Gray line. But when you start getting over here, the Tamiya one has a little bit of green. The Warlord Games on gray is too green. And this still looks kind of brown. It's got a little bit of green to it, so it's not too bad. So the FAR 3 here are probably the best, and this Vallejo one is not too bad, but it's still too brown. Okay. Now let's look at the black, and you can kind of see where the differences come in. That's obviously not it. That doesn't look like it's fully dry, but it looks like it's the right color. So that's the Vallejo one. Now, these two, the AK on a black primer, they look more gray, right? And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for field gray. It's a gray with a very light green tint. That's got a little bit too much in it. That's almost olive. So right now, on the black primer, the AK comes out as the winner. Vallejo? No, Army Painter. Army Painter, not so bad. It's just a little bit too light. That looks a little too green. And this one looks perfect. Tamiya. These two, but this one looks a little perfect when it comes to on black. Because see, it's got that green gray look. Okay. Now my favorite primer color, brown. So let's take a look at what we got here. Panzer Aces, not so good. That Panzer Ace is not bad. That actually looks good. That Vallejo looks really good. But now, AK gray that looks gray. That's good. Army Painter looks gray. Warlord Games looks gray. Tamiya looks more green. I would say the Warlord or the AK on this. That's the color I'm looking for. That's just maybe a little bit too green. So this Army Painter and this AK is probably... The Vallejo is not bad. It's got a little bit, it looks like it's got more green in it, which I'm okay with. But that's the field gray I'm looking for. AK. So right now, for me, brown primer, AK. Black primer, AK or Tamaya. Gray primer. AK looks good. Yeah, it's AK. And I'm never going to prime World War II figures in white. None of these look really good. Army Painter probably looks the best. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this up, maybe down here. We'll put some pictures up on top so we can compare these colors to the actual uniforms, and let you be the decision, because I don't have the pictures on my screen right now. I'm going to be adding them in post, and so you'll have to decide which one you think is the best field gray. All right, well, thanks for coming out and checking out this evaluation. If I had to just pick a color to paint my models, if I'm doing World War II, I'm probably priming either brown or black. And if I'm priming brown or black, which I always do, I think I'm just going to stick with AK. I think they're the best out of what I see here. Vallejo's not bad. And Tamaya's not bad. These other color, like this color, is probably a little too green, which is good for maybe highlighting certain things. But these colors are definitely not. I wouldn't be using that for your traditional German uniform. Tanker uniforms, maybe. I love using this color for camo spots on German helmets. Yeah, but this color, this is really gray. It's the Army Painter War Paints. It looks good on these two, but not so good on these. Thank you for coming out and checking out this video. I hope this helped you. It definitely helped me decide which field grays I'm going to be using going forward. If you're interested in miniatures, either World War II or fantasy or historical, check out my eBay store, where I sell all variety of either painted or new in the box miniatures. And also, if you're interested in having me paint some models for you, go ahead and contact me at my email address, and I'll quote you a price and we'll paint some of your miniatures for you. All right, well, thanks for coming out and checking this video out, and I'll see you next time.